The Beijing Circle's young master received a package. His buddy beside him helped open it. Oh, God, where did all these cheap, tacky goods come from? He held up a women's bag. With a face full of disdain, Yang Jin saw that pile of items. His face suddenly changed. His whole body slumped into the chair. The hand holding the documents kept trembling. His buddy spoke. Bro, are you okay? Did this junk hurt your eyes? I'll have the assistant throw it away now. Yang Jin stared at that pile of rubbish. But his eyes reddened. Don't you dare throw it away. She found out. She doesn't want me anymore. Yang Jin never had the face to tell his good brother that this pile of things were all the gifts he had given his girlfriend over the past 3 years. The most expensive item inside was probably that bottle of perfume. It was a free gift he received when buying haute couture for his family's little princess. During the 3 years, he hid his wealthier identity and dated Meng Ci. He had been living a double life. In front of Meng Ci, he was a poor guy who couldn't even afford a 10 yuan bowl of ramen. On occasions without Meng Ci, he casually spent tens of thousands treating others to a single meal. He personally witnessed Meng Ci, in order to help him pay off debts, work 2 jobs simultaneously, eat 5 yuan instant noodles, and move 30-pound boxes. It wasn't that he never thought of telling her the truth, letting her directly live a comfortable life without worries. But every time the words reached his lips, he chickened out. What if Meng Ci's affection changes? Just kept delaying like this. Till today, Meng Ci was at the mall and saw a girl trying on lipsticks one by one. Her boyfriend Yang Jin was patiently following along and learning beside her. She never knew her boyfriend had the patience to shop at the mall. Before, the two of them would never buy anything here. Every time, they would just stand at the entrance and look. She knew this mall was expensive. Occasionally, she wanted to go in and look around, not to buy anything. But she was too timid, afraid others would notice she was broke. Later, Yang Jin had a stable job and a good income. Meng Ci suggested a few times to go in and look. But every time, Yang Jin would change the subject. Over time, Meng Ci realized he didn't want to go. Today, a friend asked her to help pick up a bracelet at the mall. But just as she got the bracelet and was about to leave, she ran into Yang Jin and that girl. The two were laughing and talking, picking out lipsticks one by one. The girl even willfully forced Yang Jin to lift his arm, drawing red marks all over his arm. The man just smiled and let her do it. His eyes, full of indulgence and helplessness. Meng Ci just watched them numbly, trying to find any possibility of a misunderstanding on the man's face. But all she saw was Yang Jin waving his arm, saying, "Charge it." And so, the spoiled little princess got a full set of makeup. The counter girl beside Meng Ci gasped softly at the entire set. That's nearly 100,000. The girl could only lower her head and smile bitterly. They had been together for 3 years. The most expensive material thing he had ever given her was just $100, and that was only because her salary was late and her meal card had no money left. He only found out after she had starved for 2 whole days. Then he just put $100 on it for her. Meng Ci's eyes ached from staring. She turned and left the mall directly, heading home. 9:30 p.m. The sound of a key turning in the door echoed outside. Yang Jin opened the door and turned on the light. He took 2 steps before noticing Meng Ci lying on the sofa. He seemed startled. "Why didn't you make a sound?" Meng Ci adjusted to the light for a moment before speaking. "Why are you so late? I've been waiting for you for so long." Yang Jin's hands, untying his tie, paused. Then he explained nonchalantly, "The flight was delayed." Meng Ci suddenly remembered. In the past, Yang Jin's flights were often delayed. Perhaps those weren't delays. He was just off accompanying someone else. But she didn't press further. She just told him to go take a shower first, change into something comfortable, and then they'd have dinner. But the man's expression turned hesitant. about this flight delay. I already ate on the plane. Then, afraid Meng Ci would be upset, he added, but I'd love to have some of the soup you made. I smelled it as soon as I came in. It must be very fragrant. In the past, the girl would have immediately gone to get him a bowl of soup, making sure everything was perfectly arranged before bringing it to him. But this time, Meng Ci didn't move. The soup is in the kitchen. Go get yourself a bowl. Add some salt, and it's ready to drink. Yang Jin watched her pack her luggage. He didn't say anything. He went to get the soup himself, but when he entered the kitchen, he realized today wouldn't be easy to deal with. The hen soup in the pot was perfectly brewed. Unfortunately, it was cold. A thin layer of oil floated on the surface of the soup. Yang Jin instantly lost his appetite. He turned around and poured himself a glass of water. Just as he was about to go back to the bedroom to find Meng Ci, he saw a handbag on the coffee table. The pattern on it was from a top jewelry brand. Even the cheapest items cost over 10,000. Yang Jin's heart sank. He picked up the bag and opened it. Inside the jewelry box lay an exquisite bracelet. The tiny diamonds on it reflected a dazzling light. Meng Ci came out of the bedroom, carrying the dirty clothes he had changed out of. When she saw Yang Jin holding her friend Yi Miru's jewelry box, she instinctively wanted to explain, but her mind flashed with the girl's coquettish laughter and the 100,000 spent on the card. She swallowed the words that were about to come out. It's pretty, isn't it? I think this bracelet is very beautiful. Yang Jin frowned deeply. How could you take someone else's things? People will look down on you for this. This item is very valuable. Return it to them immediately. Meng Ci knew he had misunderstood and felt bitter inside. If she took someone else's things, people would look down on her. Then he gave that girl so much. Isn't he afraid that the girl will be looked down upon? If you want to drink the soup, just heat it up. I saved the dishes for you. It's too late. I have to go back to school. As she spoke, she took the bracelet from his hand and put it in the box. At the door, Meng Ci stopped and said, "Also, this bracelet belongs to my roommate. I'm taking it back for her." After saying that, she ignored the man and left directly. Yang Jin, realizing his misunderstanding, quickly chased after her. "I'm not doubting you. I just returned to the country. I'm very tired. Let's not argue, okay?" Meng Ci didn't talk back, but her attitude softened. After all, years of feelings can't be cut off so easily. He led the girl toward the bedroom. "I brought you a gift from Paris. You'll definitely like it." Meng Ci obediently followed him. While tidying up earlier, she had seen a luxury green box in the suitcase. Inside was a delicate, thin necklace. But she didn't touch the necklace, because she didn't know if it was meant for her. Now, however, Meng Ci was sure it was for her. But Yang Jin rummaged through the suitcase for a while, and pulled out an inconspicuous black box. Handing it to Meng Ci, he said, "Happy birthday, my girlfriend." Meng Ci looked at the small box, but what she saw before her eyes was her own heart, torn and bleeding. The necklace box was still in the suitcase. It was not covered up. He did not hesitate to show her his worth. Meng Ci smiled with difficulty and said, "Thank you." She guessed that the black box probably contained something like perfume. It was from the same brand counter where she had encountered Yang Jin this afternoon. Should she be thankful that Yang Jin remembered her while he was accompanying someone else? Or should she be sad that she didn't even receive a necklace? Seeing that she was unhappy, Yang Jin explained, "This bottle of perfume was specially chosen by me in France. Try it first. If you like it, I'll bring you other scents next time." She does not wear perfume, because the smell of oil paint and turpentine on her all year round would mix with it. And it would be strange. Yang Jin clearly knew this. But now, he just had to give her a bottle. Meng Ci thanked her and turned to leave. She didn't want to stay any longer in this suffocating house. It was already past PM. When she returned to the dormitory, Meng Ci handed the bag in her hand to Yi Miru. This is your bracelet. Check if there's any problem with it. Yi Miru opened it and looked, then casually tossed it onto her desk. Their roommate Zhou Yue, who was nearby, grew a little curious. Speaking of which, today is your birthday. What nice things did your boyfriend bring you? From France? Don't hide it. Let us see too. Among the 4 people in their dorm, Meng Ci was the poorest in the whole school. But she was the only one in the dorm who had a boyfriend. They also knew that in the past, it was always Meng Ci working to support him. Now that the boyfriend has been promoted, and it's also Meng Ci's birthday, he should at least give her something nice, right? Hearing this, Meng Ci placed a black paper box in her hand on the table. This is it. After saying that, she turned and went to the balcony to put away the clothes she had sun-dried earlier. Li Yo is the most impatient. She opened the box. He brought you back perfume? But don't you not use perfume? He said he brought it back from France. Zhou Yue and Li Ya exchanged a look. Their eyes filled with confusion. He came back from France and only brought perfume? Yi Miru frowned, picked up the perfume, unwrapped the packaging, sprayed it once into the air. The fragrance wasn't strong. But this isn't the type of thing a girl like Meng Ci would use either. She picked up the packaging box and turned it over. There were traces of glue residue on the bottom of the box. That was the mark left from a torn-off label. She irritably threw the box back onto the table. You'd better just keep this thing for yourself. Don't spray it on and make people laugh at you. A country girl trying to wear perfume. Leah couldn't stand hearing you talk like that. Her boyfriend bought it for her. Is it shameful to use it? I'm just stating the facts. If you don't suit nice things, don't force yourself to use them. Otherwise people will look down on you and think you're being improper. Li Ya and Zhou Yue still wanted to speak up for her. But Meng Ci shook her head and stopped them. It wasn't the first time Yi Miru had said she wasn't good enough. But today, she felt she was right. After the dorm lights went out, Meng Ci lay quietly on her bed looking at her phone. Not a single message. Yang Jin hadn't even asked if she had gotten back to the dorm safely. Just now, after returning, Meng Ci had checked the necklace in the box. It wasn't expensive. Only $800. But it wasn't for her either. Most likely it was bought for that girl. And that girl forgot to take it with her. Yi Miru was right. She didn't deserve it. Yang Jin could wear a suit of famous brands, accompanying girls shopping at the mall, waving his hand generously to pay a 100,000 bill. Yet when he came home to see her, he had already changed into ordinary work clothes costing a few hundred. She only deserves to see him in his work uniform. She only deserves the chaotic hustle and bustle of the wet market. She isn't even worthy of a necklace that costs less than $1,000. So, how much is this bottle of perfume worth then? Meanwhile, in the high-end villa district in the east of the city, Yang Jin had just showered, feeling refreshed all over. He only felt the comfort of being home once he lay on the bed. Suddenly, a girl rushed into the room. Bro, where's that bottle of perfume I got as a gift with my purchase today? Where did you put it? The man was displeased. Yang Zhu, you're 18 years old now. Don't you know you need the owner's permission before entering a room? The girl completely ignored his words. She rummaged through the suitcase but couldn't find the perfume bottle. Instead, she found the necklace she bought at the mall today. Yang Zhu's eyes widened, her face full of disbelief. Isn't this the gift you bought for your girlfriend? You didn't give it to her? Wait, didn't you say you were spending the day with your girlfriend today? Don't tell me you accidentally gave her the perfume instead? You just got back from abroad and gave her a freebie perfume? Did she kick you out? Hearing this, Yang Jin smirked disdainfully. Meng Ci has a soft temper. She hasn't even spoken a harsh word to him in all these years. It's more likely he would be the one to kick her out. Besides, she doesn't even recognize this brand. How would she know the perfume was a free gift? He casually said he had given the perfume to her. Yang Zhu sighed helplessly at his words. You're such a jerk, pretending to be poor, and tricking a young girl into supporting you for 3 years. Now, it's her birthday, and you still gave the wrong gift. If it were me, I would have told you to get lost long ago. She only found out by accidentally seeing her brother's phone today. That's how she learned her brother had a girlfriend since college. Their family is well off. It's understandable that her brother feared the girl might have ulterior motives, the motive for hiding his identity while dating. But it's been almost 3 years now, and he's still guarding against her. As if she were a thief. Moreover, this girlfriend treats her brother exceptionally well. She just doesn't understand what her brother is up to. Eagerly rushing back from France to celebrate her birthday, yet afraid she might notice. But he didn't buy anything. In the end, she noticed, and dragged him to the mall to buy a gift for her. Yang Zhu shook her head. What's the point of dating when it's like how her brother does it? Wouldn't it be better to just break up if you don't like her? If your boyfriend treated you like this, I'd beat him so badly even his own mother wouldn't recognize him. Just thinking about their precious sister being deceived. Yang Jin gritted his teeth in anger. Yang Zhu couldn't figure it out no matter how hard she thought. Then why did you deceive your girlfriend like that? She's a girl too. She's endured hardship with you for several years. Adult matters. Kids shouldn't interrupt. I bought you everything you were supposed to get today. If you say anything reckless in front of mom and dad, be careful, I'll freeze your card. After threatening her, Yang Jin pushed Yang Zhu out of the room. The floor lamp in the bedroom cast a cold light. The necklace box is on the desk. Yang Jin grew more and more annoyed as he looked at it. He swiped it away with a wave of his hand. They don't understand anything. Early Saturday morning, Meng Ci and a few others took the bus to the mall to hang out. They went to the cosmetics counter to look at makeup. Meng Ci took a moment to visit the luxury brand counter in the area Yang Jin had been to before. The saleswoman happened to be the same one as last time. With a friendly smile, she introduced many perfumes from the brand to Meng Ci. Meng Ci couldn't find the specific one she had received. She didn't know how to describe it either. For a moment, she felt completely at a loss. Yi Miuru came over. She didn't even glance at Meng Ci, casually picking up a lipstick to test the color. She seemed quite satisfied. I'll take all of these shades. Also bring that new perfume you recently got. Get one for me. The counter girl gave her a smile and an apology. Sorry, miss. Our store hasn't released any new perfumes recently. Perhaps you remembered wrong? Yi Miuru frowned. Impossible. I saw it. A black box with a logo. It even had patterns on it. The counter girl had a sudden realization. Miss, the one you're referring to is a free gift. When a member's spending points reach 1 million, they get a bottle of perfume for free. Yi Miuru pretended to have a sudden realization. No wonder. Then, check how many points I have now. And Meng Ci was left alone, her entire body stiff. He had never even bothered to pick out a gift for her while in France. So, in Yang Jin's eyes, she only deserved a free gift. While the sales assistant checked the points, Yi Miuru tried to cozy up to her. I'm still short by a lot. Looks like I'll be laughed at by my friend for a long time. Can you check how many points my friend Yang Jin has? I need to work hard and definitely surpass him. When it comes to the comparisons among wealthy families, the sales assistant was long used to it. Besides, points aren't considered private. To maintain the relationship with Yi Miuru, it was fine to quietly tell her, Mr. Yang Jin's current spending totals 1.4 million. This was an amount Meng Ci wouldn't even dare to imagine. She just felt ridiculous. A few years ago, Yang Jin was in a car accident and was seriously injured. At that time, he owed some debts because of the medical expenses. She often took on 2 extra jobs to repay the debt. It wasn't until his senior year that the situation improved. Yet he spent over 1 million on cosmetics for someone else. He always said he was short on cash. He never took her out for meals or shopping. It seems all the money was spent here. And Yi Miaru paid, picked up the shopping bags, and left. She pretended not to know Meng Ci the entire time. But Meng Ci didn't mind at all. She followed behind Yi Miaru to the rest area. Here, Yi Miaru threw the shopping bag in her hand to Meng Ci. Don't get the wrong idea, both of them gave you birthday gifts. If I didn't give one, it wouldn't be worth being left out. Meng Ci looked down. Inside the shopping bag were all the popular shade lipsticks from the brand. Yi Miaru was quite disdainful. She curled her lip and said, "Don't say I look down on you. The bottom of that brand's gift boxes all have labels. The bottom of your perfume box has a little bit of glue residue. Anyone who knows would suspect it's a free gift. Only a country bumpkin like you, fresh out of the mountains, with no experience, would spend your hard-earned money on others and get scammed by a man like this." Meng Ci smiled wryly. So she had known all along. That's why she had helped ask about the perfume. Thank you. Just consider it me helping the disadvantaged. Yi Miaru didn't take it seriously. She acted as if she was afraid Meng Ci would come back to repay the favor someday. She got up to go find Liya and the others. Meng Ci didn't mind her attitude. She took one lipstick out from the shopping bag in her hand. She put the rest into Yi Miaru's bag. By the time they returned to school, it was already dinner time. There were many small vendors at the school gate. The four of them bought a lot of snacks. As they walked back, Yang Jin was standing outside the west gate. He watched the four girls walk towards him. His girlfriend was among them. She was chatting about some interesting topic, her expression lively and excited. Yi Miaru saw him first. She nudged Meng Ci's chin with her shoulder, gesturing for her to look towards Yang Jin. She then took Li Ya and Zhou Yue inside first. The three girls didn't greet Yang Jin at all, acting as if they didn't know him. Meng Ci had never actually introduced her boyfriend. I've asked him to join us for meals several times. He always makes excuses about being busy. They don't really care about a meal anyway. It's best to act like we don't know each other right now. Yang Jin had clear, bright eyes. He approached the girl with a smile. Why didn't you answer my calls? You had me worried for so long. Meng Ci took out her phone. There was a WeChat message from Yang Jin at PM asking what she was doing. Shortly after, several calls came in. I was shopping with my roommate this afternoon. I didn't check my phone the whole time. Yang Jin shook his head to say it was fine. Don't let this happen again. Check your phone every once in a while. Otherwise, I'll worry about you. After finishing what he had to say, he took the shopping bags from Meng Ci's hand and led her toward the door. You spent today with your roommate. Since tomorrow's the weekend, it's my turn, right? We haven't had a proper meal together since I got back from my business trip. Actually, it's mainly because the soup our housekeeper makes always tastes a bit off. It doesn't have her flavor. The words business trip made Meng Ci stop in her tracks. I have the night shift tonight. I can't come over. Hearing this, Yang Jin frowned and spoke. It's dangerous for a girl to work the night shift. Listen to me, let's not go. I can support you with an allowance. Back when Yang Jin got promoted, he felt bad that Meng Ci was working so hard. He said he would support her so she could focus on her studies, but the allowance he gave was only enough for daily meals. Meng Ci bought clothes today. She's still using the savings from her previous part-time job. And as an art student, everything from paints to canvases costs money. So, after supporting herself for a while, Meng Ci's savings were almost gone. She used to rely on Yang Jin, but now it seems safer to rely on herself. Seeing her silence, Yang Jin spoke again. Is it because when you went out shopping today, you wanted the things your roommate bought too? Thanks to his princess of a sister, he was well versed in all those girly things. The bags carried by those three roommates, and the bag Meng Ci was holding now, were not even in the same league. In the past, Meng Ci would have immediately retorted that she didn't care, since she genuinely didn't. But this time, she didn't argue. She clenched the birthday gift she received at noon in her pocket, then casually took it out and unwrapped it. I went to the mall today, and the salesgirl said, "This shade is a must-have for every girl. Do you think it looks nice?" When Yang Jin saw the lipstick, his eyes suddenly widened. Wasn't this the same brand he had bought for his sister before? Yang Jin frowned and turned away. Such flashy things aren't worth buying. He then changed the subject. "I'll go with you to your shift tonight. Tomorrow, you must make it clear to them that you're not going anymore." Meng Ci didn't respond, her heart filled with bitterness. There really is a difference. For the little princess, it's 100,000 yuan makeup sets. For her, it's just flashy and unnecessary. But in other ways, Yang Jin is actually very good to Meng Ci. Like during their night shift at the convenience store, Yang Jin is always the one handling the checkout. Meng Ci just rests and reads in the chair nearby. After Yang Jin sees off a customer, he notices her spacing out. He thinks she's confused by the book. "What's wrong? Tell me which part you don't understand." His grades are very good. Sometimes, when Meng Ci can't grasp the Marxist theory, Yang Jin will help her straighten out the key points. Meng Ci snaps back to reality and looks at his real face before her. "Will we break up?" She wanted to ask who that girl was, but what came out was this. Deep down, she still held on to a last shred of hope for him. What if that girl is his sister? Yang Jin taps her nose. "Silly, you're not allowed to say things like that. We will never break up." Their shift ends at a.m. The two buy some breakfast on the way. Back at the rental room, Meng Ci is sleepy. She falls asleep as soon as she hits the bed. Yang Jin still has some work matters to handle. By the time he finishes, it's already a.m. He returns to the bedroom. Meng Ci's eyes are tightly closed. She's sleeping deeply. Yang Jin knows something is bothering her. Probably wanting the luxury goods her roommate bought yesterday. It must be something she can't afford on her own. But for now, he doesn't want to drop his current disguise. Let her endure poverty for a while longer. After all, she has been poor since birth. Meng Ci woke up again at p.m. There was no trace of anyone having slept beside her. She got up and left the bedroom. It was pitch dark outside. Only the study was lit. She gathered her belongings, knocked on the door and told Yang Jin she was leaving. There was no response from inside for a long time. The girl pushed the door open, only to find the study empty. Only Yang Jin's laptop on the desk was still glowing. On the screen was a car introduction. Meng Ci knew nothing about cars. She only saw two intertwined M's on the logo. The price below was over 8 million. Faced with this string of numbers, Meng Ci felt nothing. And she didn't have 8 million either. Her gaze was drawn to the photo frame next to the laptop. It was a picture of a woman and Yang Jin together. The woman was wearing a cheongsam, with no extra accessories from head to toe. Only a somewhat familiar gold bracelet on her wrist. Meng Ci didn't think much of it. Put down the photo frame. Got up to leave. Left a note for Yang Jin. Then went out. But as soon as she opened the door, she faintly heard Yang Jin's voice coming from the back staircase. Meng Ci couldn't help herself. Quietly approached. The man's voice gradually became clear. "I've picked out the snowmobile for you. We'll get the car next week. I'll find you another driver for transportation. When you go to university, we'll change to a new car. My little princess, don't be angry with me anymore, okay? I haven't been sleeping well these past couple of days." This was a tenderness Meng Ci had never heard before. She hadn't expected the little princess to still be a high school student. Ci walked into the elevator expressionlessly and left. She had been narrow-minded. Even if the other person could possibly be his sister, Meng Ci still couldn't compare to her. Besides, if she really were his sister, why be so secretive about it? "I'm afraid this sister might not be a blood relative. Moreover, an $8 million car." Meng Ci couldn't handle that either. After appeasing Yang Jin returned to the study. There was a note left by Meng Ci on the table, saying she has class tomorrow and must return to school today. Yang Jin nodded, threw the note into the trash. A girlfriend should be this sensible and obedient. That way he has more time to focus on business. Got up and went back to the room to change clothes. He became the sole heir of the Yang group once again. Late at night, Yang Jin was driven back to the flat near the company. There was a business dinner today. Yang Jin drank a bit too much and felt dizzy. When he got to the bedroom, he didn't have the energy to wash up. Lay on the bed and rested with his eyes closed. In his dazed state, the image of Meng Ci holding a shopping bag appeared before his eyes again. Yang Jin instantly lost all sleepiness, got up and went to the bathroom. I only remembered that Meng Ci isn't here after washing it. No one helped him with his clothes. He had to walk to the cloakroom himself. The cloakroom was very large. It was well stocked with everything from everyday items to business limited edition products. He used to leave work early, change into casual clothes here before meeting Meng Ci. He placed the limited edition watch in his hand into the glass cabinet. The box next to it contained the same model for women. This was the birthday gift he brought back for her from France this year. At that time, Yang Zhu had taken a liking to a women's watch with a diamond-studded bracelet. Wearing it on the wrist made the skin appear fair and delicate. The first thing that came to his mind was Meng Ci's wrist. So he bought this same series for her. The price was 10 times higher than Yang Zhu's watch. Meng Ci, that silly girl, can't any luxury brands. If you just lie and tell her it's a rhinestone bought from the roadside, she'll believe it. But this watch never made it in front of Meng Ci. Remembering the expression Yang Zhu had when she called him stingy, Yang Jin sneered as he closed the box. He walked to the hidden safe in the walk-in closet and opened it. Inside were many expensive pieces of women's jewelry. Yang Jin felt no regret. He threw the watch inside, locked it, stood up and went to the study. There was also an old photo on the desk there. It was exactly the same as the one in the rental apartment. Yang Jin's hand touched the woman's gold bracelet in the photo. The woman in the photo was his grandmother. When he was a child, his parents were busy with their careers, so he lived with his grandmother. In his memories, his grandmother always wore this bracelet and told him stories about his grandfather. At that time, their love story was something Yang Jin yearned for. Later, his grandmother became seriously ill. His playful little sister accidentally broke grandmother's bracelet. He didn't dare let grandmother know, so he secretly took it to get repaired behind her back. But on the way back, he was driving too fast and crashed into a wall by the roadside. He was in a coma for nearly a month. In the end, he didn't get to see his grandmother one last time. That bracelet was also lost. He couldn't even accompany her to her burial. Later, he went to the hospital that provided his emergency care to check the surveillance footage. He saw that Meng Ci had taken it. He went to find her, hinting that he wanted to ask about the bracelet. But she pretended not to know. He gradually developed feelings for her while they were spending time together. Thinking of giving her one last chance, gave her $50,000, hoping she would return the bracelet for the sake of the money. But Meng Ci avoided the topic, gave the money to her younger brother in the countryside. Yang Jin gradually became disappointed, yet couldn't let go of his slight affection for Meng Ci. So their relationship should have been him pampering her. In the end, it turned into Meng Ci suffering in poverty alone. Now, 3 years have passed. Meng Ci has proven with her actions that she is not a greedy person. And he also hopes the two of them can have a future together. But he just can't get over the issue of the bracelet. He can fulfill whatever his girlfriend wants. But Meng Ci still doesn't qualify yet. On the other side, Meng Ci returned to the dormitory and just lay down. Her phone suddenly rang. On the other end of the line was her stepbrother, Chuan. Meng Ci was instantly wide awake. "What do you want?" The boy's voice on the phone sounded hesitant and uneasy. "Sis, can you come home this weekend? Meng Ci hadn't heard the word home in a long time. She had only been in 7th grade when she left. Her stepmother said that since she was getting older, she needed to be mindful of boundaries between boys and girls. So she told Dad to send her back to her grandmother's house. During the new year, she went back to the house. She discovered Meng Chuan was living in her old room. All of her belongings had been packed away. Even her drinking cup was replaced with the disposable paper one. After that, she never set foot in that house again. Now, both of their parents have been dead for 3 years. What could they possibly want from her now? I remember when my dad died. I gave you 50,000 for living expenses. You're 18 now, an adult. I have no obligation to support you anymore. 3 years ago, their parents died in a traffic accident. While their father was in the hospital, he instructed that the only house be left to Meng Chuan. All that was left for her was a meager savings. Later, that money was also used to compensate the victims their father had implicated. She inexplicably became Meng Chuan's guardian. She didn't want to see him. At that time, Yang Jin had just been discharged from the hospital and found her. He gave her 50,000 to thank her for the expenses she had covered at the hospital. She simply gave the entire sum to Meng Chuan all at once. She warned him never to show his face in front of her again. Otherwise, she will appeal for the division of the property. After that, the two of them lost contact. Today, Meng Chuan suddenly called. Her intuition told her it wasn't good news. Meng Chuan on the other end of the line still wanted to say something. Meng Ci directly interrupted him. I don't owe you a single thing. Don't call here again. Without listening to what the other person was saying, Meng Ci hung up the phone. She was awakened again by the ringing of the phone. It was already 5 o'clock in the morning. Meng Ci recognized Meng Chuan's number. With her sleep-addled mind, she hung up directly. But she hung up 3 calls in a row. And he still kept calling. Meng Chuan, when will you stop? I already told you, we have no relationship. I am not your sister. Hello, this is X City Central Hospital. Your younger brother was surrounded and beaten by a group of thugs last night. A passerby found him and brought him to the hospital this morning. His condition is very serious now. Please come to the hospital as soon as possible. Meng Ci listened to the cold female voice. She immediately widened her eyes and thought for a few minutes. In the end, she couldn't harden her heart. She quickly put on her clothes and rushed back. It was too early. She could only take a long-distance bus. It took 4 hours by bus before she finally arrived. When Meng Ci arrived at the hospital, Meng Chuan's face was covered in wounds, lying unconscious on the hospital bed. A nurse noticed her. Are you Meng Chuan's guardian? What kind of sister are you? Your younger brother. He didn't come home all night and no one looked for him. I called you, but you didn't answer. Meng Ci apologized and excused herself, saying she was busy. What could be more important than her own brother? When he was brought in, he was barely breathing. Go find a doctor quickly. Ask how your brother should be treated. The doctor was a middle-aged man, holding the earlier scans taken of Meng Chuan. 3 ribs were broken. His left forearm and right leg were fractured. You go pay the fees, then complete the procedures for him. I'll arrange more detailed examinations. Meng Ci nodded, went to pay the fees and complete the procedures. After all the procedures were done and she returned, Meng Chuan had already been taken out for examinations. His phone was left alone on the hospital bed. Meng Ci picked up Meng Chuan's phone and checked the contact list. Wanted to see if he had any other relatives who could come take care of him. She needed to return to school and didn't want to stay too long. But there were only 3 contacts in it. His deceased parents and her. The call history was also very simple. The most recent one was from last night, made to her. Thinking about Meng Chuan's unrecognizable state earlier, Meng Ci recalled last night's call again. He must have been holding onto consciousness after being beaten to call her for help. The girl felt a speechless sadness well up inside her. Instead of calling an ambulance, he called her. She didn't know how much time had passed. Meng Chuan was wheeled in by a nurse. He had just woken up and was lying in bed, unable to move. His eyes kept searching around the hospital room. After Meng Ci found it, Meng Chuan smiled weakly. "Sis, you really came back." Meng Ci didn't want to get close to him. But Meng Chuan didn't mind at all. "Auntie, look. This is my sister. She's pretty, right? She's a top student at Haishi University. The kind that gets a scholarship every year." The nurse nodded indifferently. "So what if she's a top student? Her character is still no good. She doesn't even care that you're injured. What kind of sister is that?" But she was used to seeing this kind of thing in the hospital. Apart from giving Meng Ci a sour look, she carried on as usual. Meng Chuan paid no attention to any of this. He just kept chattering endlessly about how great his sister was. Meng Ci couldn't stand him pushing her like this. "Alright, stop talking. Save your energy for the operating room later. I'll listen to you." Meng Chuan obediently lay there happily, not saying another word. The girl went to the doctor's office to check the results. Fortunately, there was no internal organ damage. But his other injuries were too severe and required hospitalization. When she returned to the ward, Meng Chuan was still awake. His eyes were fixed on the door. Only after she appeared did he relax and lie back down. Meng Ci walked over. "Give me the keys. The doctor says you need to be hospitalized. I'll go get you some clothes." "Sis, the house keys haven't been changed," Meng Chuan said weakly. Meng Ci's hand movements froze, then returned to normal. She said, and asked for the key. "Mine's been lost for a long time." "The hospital isn't far from the house. It's just 3 bus stops away. This is an old tube-shaped apartment in the former factory district. Many old neighbors have lived here their whole lives." Meng Ci didn't care if she ran into anyone familiar. She opened the old security gate. The inside was much cleaner than she expected, except for some unfinished noodles in the kitchen. Other places, though old, were very clean. Following her memory, she went to what was once her room, packed a few of Meng Chuan's clothes and toiletries. Turning around, she saw that family photo of the 4 of them. She recalled the empty call log on the boy's phone, and that bowl of unfinished noodles in the kitchen, pale and white, without even a drop of oil on them. Meng Ci's heart softened in the end. She put down Meng Chuan's clothes, went out and bought some large bones. Meanwhile, Yang Jin woke up in the afternoon, remembering he had arranged to pick up Meng Ci today. He quickly got up, changed, and went out. Arriving at the medical university gate, Yang Jin called Meng Ci. "I'm at the school gate. Are you ready to come out now?" Meng Ci, on the other end of the phone, was skimming the scum off the bone broth. She then remembered they had agreed to go look at cars tomorrow. I opened my mouth, wanting to talk about Meng Chuan. But then I remembered Yang Jin doesn't like Meng Chuan. I might have to substitute teach tomorrow. So I can't go car shopping. Yang Jin was a bit displeased. "You're taking on another part-time job? Didn't we agree you wouldn't take on part-time jobs?" Meng Ci couldn't think of what to say right away. She could only make up a quick lie. "It's the tutoring job Zhou Ye found. But she has something to do and is going out of town this week. So she asked me to cover one class for her." Hearing this, Yang Jin had no choice. "Alright then, I'll head back first. When you're free, we'll go look at cars, then." After saying that, he hung up, thinking he had nothing else to do. Yang Jin simply went back home. He happened to arrive right at dinner time. The family of 4 sat around the dining table for a reunion meal. At the dinner table, Father Yang and Mother Yang brought up the subject of arranging a blind date for Yang Jin again. Before he could even voice his refusal, Yang Zhu directly spoke up to stop her mother. "Stop trying to set brother up on blind dates. My brother has a girlfriend. They've been together for almost 3 years." Hearing this, Mother Yang became very interested. "He really has a girlfriend? Why hasn't he brought her home to meet us?" Yang Jin grunted in acknowledgement, admitting that he has a girlfriend. She's majoring in oil painting at the art college. She's in her 3rd year. Seeing that Yang Jin wasn't angry, Yang Zhu grew even bolder. Mom, Dad, you didn't know? At first, my brother pretended to be poor, and even had debts. It was that young woman who worked to support him. Just think about the social climate nowadays. For her to willingly suffer and stay with my brother, she must genuinely like him. Hearing this, Father Yang shook his head disapprovingly and said it wasn't right. If you aren't sincere with the girl, and there's a barrier between you, you shouldn't force the relationship. You also shouldn't deliberately hold her back. Yang Jin quickly explained his true feelings, saying that he was sincere. Yang Zhu didn't believe it at all. She thought her brother just needed to be taught a lesson. She told their parents all about her brother's misdeeds. Father Yang and Mother Yang immediately lectured him to treat his girlfriend better. They said to bring her home to meet them when he had the chance. Yang Jin hadn't expected that things would progress faster than he planned. He originally intended to wait until Meng Ci returned the bracelet before bringing her to meet his parents. But now that Yang Zhu had exposed him, he had to speed up his original plan. Their son came home for a meal, and unexpectedly, there was now a girlfriend. Father Yang happily drank 2 extra glasses. He only put down his glass when Mother Yang called him out and stopped him. Watching his parents' affection for each other, and thinking about how he and Meng Ci would live like that in the future, Yang Jin's originally gloomy mood gradually improved. As his father said, no matter what Meng Ci had done in the past, if he truly wanted to be with her, he should talk it out with her. Clearly, the two of them should be together openly and honestly. She has endured so many hardships with him all these years. What was owed had long been settled. So the next day, he gave up his original car that cost over 100,000 and went to order a car he had had his eye on for a long time. He chose everything that Meng Ci liked, deciding based on the current popular style among girls. And the cat keychain bought a few days ago could be attached to the car keys and given to Meng Ci. Thinking this, he turned back and returned to the rental room. In the wardrobe, he found the keychain placed there a few days ago. But then, he unexpectedly saw a black velvet pouch in the corner of the wardrobe. On it was embroidered a familiar classical mandarin duck playing in water. This was the pouch his grandmother used to store her bracelet. The mandarin ducks were also embroidered by his grandmother herself. Yang Jin's hands trembled. A bad feeling surged in his heart. He picked up the bag. The feel of it already told him the bag was empty inside. Yet, he still couldn't resist opening it. Inside was only a single piece of paper. It was a gold jewelry sales receipt from a gold store. For just a few tens of thousands of dollars, she had actually sold the only memento his grandmother left him. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Meng Chuan's spirits had improved a lot. Meng Ci took Meng Chuan's blood-stained school uniform back to wash it. She felt strange the entire way. Several times when she looked back, she felt like someone was following her. She got goosebumps all over her body. She opened the door, went in immediately, and locked it from the inside. She looked through the peephole. Faint footsteps could be heard gradually approaching from outside. The next moment, a scruffy, middle-aged man appeared in the peephole. His eyes were fierce and murky. He stood outside the security door, smoking, facing her. Meng Ci was afraid the man wouldn't leave. She immediately bolted the door. She turned around, grabbed her phone, and hid inside the bedroom. She couldn't call the police. The man was just smoking outside her door. If she rashly called the police, she might alert the enemy. But the people she knew were limited. Aside from her department head and her major course advisor, the only male contact she had was Yang Jin. Thinking this, she could only muster her last bit of courage. She called Yang Jin. The phone rang 3 times, but Yang Jin didn't answer. Meng Ci's rationality cleared as the phone rang. It was a 4-hour journey from Haishi to here. Distant water cannot quench a nearby fire. After hanging up, she didn't call again. Yang Jin didn't call back either. She waited inside until it got dark. She didn't know if the person outside the door had left or not. Meng Ci peered through the peephole to check outside. The lights were off. There was no movement. Remembering that Meng Chuan was still waiting for her at the hospital, she mustered her courage and carefully opened the door a crack. The motion sensor light outside turned on. There were many cigarette butts on the ground. They had been stomped flat. But there was no one outside. Meng Ci felt relieved. That person should have already left. She went back to the room to get the meal for Meng Chuan. Just after turning off the living room light and stepping out, the hallway sensor light also went out. A crimson glow flickered outside the door. That person leaned against the wall and took a drag from the cigarette in his hand. Finally came out, and the lunchbox in Meng Ci's hand fell to the ground. 1 hour later, Meng Ci was taken to the police station for questioning. It turned out the person who had been following her earlier was Meng Chuan's uncle. Before her death, Meng Chuan's mother owed him 200,000. Later, something happened to Meng Chuan's mother. Seeing his pitiful state, the uncle suppressed the matter of the 200,000 debt, and often came to take care of him himself. Over time, he found out about Meng Ci's father transferring the property under Meng Chuan's name. Last year, the uncle's second son needed to go to school. He wants Meng Chuan to transfer the property under his own name. In that case, not only will the previous 200,000 be written off, they also offered Meng Chuan an additional 500,000 as compensation. And he could also get a spot in a school district home for his child's education. But Meng Chuan absolutely refused to agree. No matter how much the uncle pestered and pressured him, it had no effect. So he asked some friends from the neighborhood to scare Meng Chuan, who knew those people would be so rough and careless. They scared Meng Chuan so badly, he ended up in the hospital. These past few days, the uncle was too scared to go to the hospital. He just stayed around the house waiting for Meng Chuan to return. Then he saw Meng Ci coming back and started following her. He wanted to talk to Meng Ci and persuade her to convince Meng Chuan to sell the house. Unexpectedly, he was mistaken for a stalker and hit with a hammer. He's still in the hospital getting stitches. And Meng Ci was also injured by the aunt and a few others who rushed over. Officer Chen sat across from her and sighed. Meng Ci was one of the few university students in this small town. He knew a little about her family's situation. I shouldn't comment on your father's affairs, but Meng Chuan has changed a lot in recent years. He only has 1 month left before the college entrance exam. I hope you can help him. Meng Ci understood what he meant. If her uncle's family used the 200,000 yuans as an excuse to cause trouble, Meng Chuan wouldn't be able to properly take the college entrance exam in a month. Uncle Chen also knows the injustice you've suffered. But you also know how difficult it is for children without parents. Meng Chuan is now just like you. Please take pity on this orphan. Help him through this period. Meng Ci nodded without speaking. 200,000 yuans isn't something you can just get easily. She definitely couldn't come up with it right now. The most important thing at the moment was to get out of the police station. According to the requirements, she had to find someone to bail her out. After Officer Chen left, her finger hovered over Yang Jin's contact on her phone. She didn't know if he would come to her rescue. Not long after, her father sent her back to her hometown in junior high. The tree she still relied on in her heart died. Later, after getting together with Yang Jin, a tree had also grown in her heart. But she didn't dare get close, afraid she would break it. Today, Meng Ci suddenly wanted to know if she could rely on him. Lively music played through the phone. Yang Jin asked her irritably what she wanted. Meng Ci could tell, but pretended not to understand. I returned to my hometown on Friday. Then you and your brother had a reunion. What do you want from me now? At this moment, Yang Jin just felt disgusted. She sold the bracelet behind his back. just to support that non-blood related brother of hers. Meng Ci wanted to say she was locked in here. No one could take her out. But his undisguised disgust inexplicably made Meng Ci feel he was guarding against her asking him for money. That afternoon surfaced in her mind again. He was accompanying that princess-like girl and boldly spent 100,000 on her. Meng Ci's last hope was pinned on this one sentence from Yang Jin. I'm in a bit of trouble. Can you lend me some money? The other person laughed and readily agreed. Sure, how much do you want? Meng Ci could tell it was mockery, because it was the tone she'd heard most often growing up. The girl closed her eyes and said the amount, 100,000. Yeah, Meng Ci. You might as well go beg on the streets. A decisive sound came from the other end. Then the call ended. Meng Ci didn't cry. She just wrapped herself tighter. It was already a.m. She could only wait until tomorrow to explain the situation and leave on her own. Right at that moment, footsteps came from outside the door. Officer Chen entered. Meng Ci, you're free to go. She nodded without asking anything and followed Officer Chen out. A boy stood in the icy cold hall. One leg and one arm were in a cast. He barely supported himself on crutches with his other leg and arm. Seeing her come out, his swollen face broke into an especially happy smile. Sis, I came to pick you up. At that moment, Meng Ci seemed to see the tree that had been uprooted from her heart being propped up again by someone, planted back and saved. That tree, which had sprouted because of Yang Jin, now bore fruit named Meng Chuan. Coming out of the police station, Meng Ci supported her younger brother Meng Chuan as they went home. The moment they entered the door, Meng Ci silently spoke in her heart, Dad, I'm back. Meanwhile, Yang Jin asked his childhood friend to go out for a drink in the middle of the night. Li Yan was somewhat puzzled beside him. I say, bro, what's gotten into you? Calling us out to drink away your sorrows so late at night. She sold that bracelet, swallowing a bitter mouthful of alcohol. Yang Jin didn't dare to recall the feeling he had when he saw that receipt earlier. Li Yan thought he was completely overreacting. Didn't you already suspect that she sold the bracelet? Besides, it's just a cheap bracelet, not even expensive. So why are you losing it now? These past few days, Yang Jin's moods have been weirder than his girlfriend's. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. And he won't listen to advice. She just called me to borrow 100,000 for her brother. Yang Jin had actually already looked into Meng Chuan's situation. He knows that Meng Chuan was recently injured over 200,000. She went back to her hometown over the weekend. Probably her brother was putting on a pitiful act in front of her, begging to borrow money. Li Yan was very surprised. Did you forget a zero? So, did you give it to her or not? Yang Jin shook his head and said no. Li Yan was truly speechless this time. Your girlfriend asks to borrow money from you, and you actually refused? Don't forget, a few days ago you spent 100,000 just buying toys for your sister. If you're really hung up on the bracelet issue, you might as well just break up. Li Yan knows that in their 3 years together, Meng Ci has been utterly devoted to Yang Jin. As far as he knows, this is the first time Meng Ci has ever asked Yang Jin for anything. Yet the young master beside him actually suspects she's with him for his money. Li Yan shook his head. It really is a difference in social class. The mindset gap is just too wide. After realizing it, Yang Jin was also upset. I was really angry at the time. I refused without thinking. He actually regrets it too. If Meng Ci called again, he would give her 100,000 for her emergency. But so far, there hasn't been a single message on his phone. Li Yan grabbed Yang Jin's arm and asked, have you thought about how to resolve this? If you don't break up, she'll find out one day that you're extremely wealthy, but weren't even willing to lend her money for a casual expense. What will you do then? Yang Jin was at a loss for words. He didn't know either. A long time ago, when he saw Meng Ci hesitate to buy a new piece of clothing for his sake, he had already started considering this issue. On one hand, he conflictedly treated her harshly because of the bracelet matter, while, on the other hand, he was anxious she might find out. Li Yan concluded, let's break up over this situation. This relationship that started because of a bracelet should just fade away along with it. Meanwhile, after Meng Ci settled Meng Chuan, she took a taxi back to school by herself on Friday. Just as she arrived at the dormitory building, she saw Yang Jin standing at the entrance. She initially thought he was waiting for her. But the next moment, she saw a girl running out of the dormitory building. It was Li Ruoxi, who was in the same department as her. Yang Jin, with his back to Meng Ci, bent down to take the luggage bag from Li Ruoxi's hand, and then walked along the road toward the school gate. The two chatted and laughed, walking side by side, completely unaware of Meng Ci standing in the shadows of the trees. She couldn't help but follow them all the way, and saw the two get into a black car. It was the same one she had seen on Yang Jin's laptop that day. Meng Ci had specifically looked up this car afterward. The latest model of Maybach. Dejected, she walked back to the dormitory, only to see Yi Miru showing off. A pair of high heels adorned with shimmering diamonds, exactly the same as Li Ruoxi's. So, how do they look? Pretty, right? Custom made, the latest Jimmy Choo design, shipped directly from France, cost over 80,000 yuans. Meng Ci lowered her head and smiled. Her canvas shoes cost 25 yuans. Indeed, some people are just not meant to be. The next day, she went to the rental apartment, intending to retrieve her clothes. After packing up, Meng Ci prepared to leave. Suddenly, she noticed a bag on the coffee table. The gold store receipt inside brought memories flooding back to Meng Ci. Back when Yang Jin had a car accident and didn't have enough money, she sold her bracelet to help cover his medical expenses. She had intended to keep the bag, thinking she would have a chance to explain things clearly to Yang Jin. But later, Yang Jin was transferred to another hospital, and there was no time to explain. After that, when the two got together, they were both too busy. Gradually, Meng Ci forgot about it. Now that the bag was on the coffee table, it meant Yang Jin had seen it too. Meng Ci picked up her phone and sent Yang Jin a WeChat message, asking to meet tomorrow. She should clear things up, to avoid him misunderstanding what happened to the gold bracelet. The next day, Meng Ci went to the agreed place to wait for Yang Jin. But he never showed up, even after dark. Forget it. Maybe he just didn't care anymore. Perhaps he was avoiding her on purpose, afraid she might bring up borrowing money again. Thinking this, Meng Ci walked back to school. As she entered the building, her vision suddenly went black. She leaned against the wall and slowly stopped. Classmate Meng, are you okay? Li Ruoxi came out and saw this. She stepped forward to ask. Meng Ci shook her head and spoke. It's nothing, just a bit of low blood sugar. Hearing this, Li Ruoxi took 2 milk candies out of her bag. Be careful with low blood sugar. Eating 2 candies can make you feel more comfortable. Meng Ci didn't take it. The milk candy packaging was exquisitely designed. You could tell at a glance it was high-end. Seeing Meng Ci not take it, Li Ruoxi quickly explained that this candy wasn't some no-name brand. This is candy my boyfriend brought back from France for me yesterday. He knows I like it. He specifically drove and waited in line in France to buy it for me. It's a limited edition. Meng Ci, feeling dizzy, leaned against the wall. This boyfriend she's talking about is Yang Jin, right? She has a boyfriend too. Why wouldn't she? In Li Ruoxi's words, there wasn't half a bit of kindness towards her. After Li Ruoxi finished speaking, she shoved the candy into Meng Ci's hand and hurried outside. My boyfriend is here. I can't talk to you anymore. Bye. Meng Ci leaned weakly against the wall. her eyes following Li Ruoxi as she looked outside the dormitory building. Under the streetlight, Yang Jin's figure appeared. After meeting with Li Ruoxi, the two walked side by side outward. Meng Ci could only force herself to keep going, walking alone back to her dorm through the dark hallway. The next day, Lady arrived, a sponsor of the art college's studio building. The dean and the head of the oil painting department personally received her. Li Ruoxi was at the side explaining the department's situation to the lady. "Auntie, shall we have a meal together later? Last time, my mom said she wanted to have dinner with you. I've been looking forward to it for a long time." "Sure. Today, Yang Jin happens to be free too. Let's invite him along." Hearing Yang Jin's name, Li Ruoxi's face flushed slightly. She lowered her head and softly agreed. Having gotten the other's consent, she found an excuse to leave first, going to call her mother and Yang Jin. After Li Ruoxi had gone farther away, Mrs. Yang spoke up. "My husband heard that there's a third-year student in the oil painting department, very talented, but unfortunately from a poor family. He specially asked me to come meet her this time." The department head knew she was likely referring to Meng Ci, and quickly led the way, inviting Mrs. Yang to Meng Ci's studio to take a look. This Meng Ci ranks first every year, and is very talented in painting. It's just a pity that her parents passed away unexpectedly right after she started university. I still have a younger brother at home to support. These past few years, I've relied on scholarships and some part-time jobs to cover my living expenses. When Meng Ci received the call and came to the art studio, she saw the department head lavishly praising her like a boastful saleswoman. And Mrs. Yang was intently looking at her painting. Seeing her arrive, Mrs. Yang turned and spoke, "In a few days, it will be my husband's and my wedding anniversary. I want to give this to him as a gift. I can pay you 100,000 as the fee. For a student, 100,000 for one painting is already a very high starting point." She couldn't let this opportunity slip away. This painting was originally meant to commemorate her meeting and connection with Yang Jin. But for her now, these things were no longer as important as money. Not long after, in the study of the Yang family villa, Father Yang asked, "What do you think of that girl?" Mother Yang sat on the sofa and nodded. "In terms of family background, she really is a very good kid. There's no greed or ambition in her eyes. Compared to Miss Li, this child is much better. Then what do you think about her as a daughter-in-law?" At this, Mrs. Yang was troubled. She's a very good person, but her family background is too poor. "I've noticed our son has been spending more time with Miss Li these days. Maybe it's better to let him choose for himself." Today, we had a meal with Li Ruoxi and her mother. I saw that Yang Jin was quite attentive to Li Ruoxi. Perhaps the two of them have already broken up. I also gave 100,000 to Meng Ci for her urgent needs. We can wait and observe her character before making a decision. The 30th wedding anniversary of Auntie Yang and Uncle Yang. The banquet was held in the top-floor ballroom of a 6-star hotel. It happened to be a weekend. Auntie Yang asked Meng Ci to deliver the painting. She also invited her to attend. There were many luxury cars at the hotel's front entrance. Yang Jin was outside greeting the guests of the day. Meng Ci saw Yang Jin from afar, but did not approach him. The hotel staff saw her holding a wrapped painting. They mistook Meng Ci for a staff member and directed her to the staff elevator at the back. At that moment, Li Ruoxi, wearing a black evening gown, walked up behind Yang Jin. "Little brother Yang." "Good evening." Yang Jin smiled and nodded in greeting. The two of them together looked like a perfect golden couple. People around kept praising how well matched they were. Meng Ci looked away, held the oil painting up to cover her face, walked past Yang Jin and the others to the service elevator at the back to deliver the painting. The venue was sparkling with lights. A dazzling crystal chandelier hung from the 10-meter-high ceiling. The guests were dressed in bright, elegant clothes, greeting each other. The women complimented each other on whose new jewelry was the most dazzling. Meng Ci had only seen such scenes in TV dramas, now displayed right before her eyes. She wasn't particularly excited though. She just couldn't help but let her eyes follow Li Ruoxi. Watching Li Ruoxi's parents exchanging greetings with Yang's parents, she smiled shyly beside her parents and kept watching Li Ruoxi playing with the little princess from the mall that day. Suddenly, Li Ruoxi whispered something. Then she picked up her small bag and stood up. Meng Ci couldn't help but follow her. Li Ruoxi wasn't going to the restroom. She was just meeting up with her girlfriends. One of the friends teased, "Who would have thought? You actually managed to win over young Master Yang." "No, he already has a girlfriend. That girl is just like me. Both of us are students at the art university. They've been together for a long time." Meng Ci found it ridiculous. She had mistakenly believed Li Ruoxi was upright and honorable. Turns out, she knew everything all along. That girl was surprised. Then on such an important day like today, why hasn't she shown up? Li Ruoxi said she didn't know either. Another girl who was drinking burst out laughing. "My boyfriend told me about this. Apparently, 3 years ago, young Master Yang was in a car accident. That girl saved him. But while young Master Yang was unconscious, she stole the gold bracelet left by his grandmother." The friend exclaimed, "Oh my God. That's just too greedy. If she saved young Master Yang, was she afraid the Yang family wouldn't repay her? How much could a gold bracelet even be worth?" That girl said smugly, "You just don't get it. These poor people have been poor since they were young. When they see something valuable, they just can't let it go." Meng Ci felt her whole body turn cold. So Yang Jin was bothered by the bracelet incident. Then why didn't he ask her about it? One of the girlfriends didn't believe it. Then how could they still be in a relationship? They had been together for 3 years. Meng Ci's heart tightened. She also couldn't believe that 3 years of feelings couldn't withstand a bracelet. "My boyfriend said, young Master Yang initially just wanted the gold bracelet back. But after some back and forth, he actually became infatuated with her. Unfortunately, young Master Yang isn't stupid. He knew that country girl loved money. So he pretended to be poor and made her support him. In the end, that country girl didn't get a single cent. She ended up losing out completely. Young Master Yang was just toying with her." That girl smiled triumphantly. Only Li Ruoxi, while no one was paying attention, glanced back, seeing that the seat behind was already empty. Li Ruoxi finally felt relieved. She frowned and scolded her to watch her words. Meanwhile, Yang Jin arrived at the venue. His eyes searched for Meng Ci's figure. He heard from his mother that Meng Ci had been invited today. During this time, he had seriously considered Li Yan's suggestion to temporarily break up with Meng Ci unilaterally and try to meet other girls. He deliberately didn't bring that old phone. He didn't even know when that phone ran out of battery and turned off. He proactively suggested Li Ruoxi. She had the same artistic mindset as Meng Ci. More importantly, there was no class gap between them. Being with her was often more comfortable than with Meng Ci. Yang Jin didn't even feel any discomfort. But after the novelty wore off, Yang Jin wasn't happy anymore. He felt that what he wanted wasn't a girl like Li Ruoxi. They should have their own thoughts and convictions. They shouldn't idolize him just because of a gift he gave. Only the Meng Ci in his mind remained a vivid person. They said he had been seeing other girls behind Meng Ci's back. That counted as cheating. Emotionally, he had already wronged her. It cancelled out the regret over the bracelet. From now on, Meng Ci owed him nothing. The two of them were finally on equal footing. He knew Meng Ci would deliver a painting to his parents today. Today, he waited downstairs on purpose. He wanted to confess to her first and ask for her forgiveness. He had prepared a beautiful dress and jewelry for her, just waiting for her to dress up beautifully, to formally introduce her to his parents. But in the end, he didn't run into her. until Yang Zhu pulled the dazed Yang Jin to cut the cake. He slowly snapped out of it. Then a waiter approached. Mrs. Yang presented the painting to her husband. On an endless golden wheat field, a family of 4 warmly watched the sunset. But the moment Yang Jin saw the painting, his heart was thrown into turmoil. Meng Ci had been here. This was a painting he had watched Meng Ci create stroke by stroke. Meng Ci said it was a treasured memory belonging to the two of them. A precious thing she wouldn't sell, even after becoming a world-famous painter. But now she had altered the wheat field and sold it to his parents. The girl couldn't have imagined in her wildest dreams the loving boyfriend she worked for 3 years to support. Yet he resented her for 3 years because of a bracelet. Meng Ci wanted to rush downstairs and tell Yang Jin. Tell him she was sorry about the bracelet. But it really wasn't because she was greedy. Suddenly, she missed a step. The girl stumbled several steps, sat down on the stairs. The pain in her ankle sobered her up. There was nothing to clarify. They only cared that she had sold the bracelet. They didn't care at all whether she was greedy or not. They also didn't know what it felt like to go hungry for 3 days. Or what it was like when you couldn't pay the medical bills. Why hadn't she just told him back then? Because she liked him. Afraid he would look down on her for being too poor. Later, because life was hard. The girl couldn't save enough money from work to pay him back. So she could only be good to Yang Jin without expecting anything in return. The flutter of young love. Sensitive and insecure. Most afraid of being looked down upon. So he never asked, and she never told. But the bracelet was her fault. She should have returned it to its owner. Meng Ci walked out of the hotel, stood at the entrance of a gold shop by the bustling street. The display window showed all kinds of new gold accessory designs. Seeing her own disheveled reflection in the security glass, she remembered back in junior high. A senior girl asked her to do her homework. The payment was the floral hair clip the senior wore. After she finished, the senior went back on her word. She wasn't about to take a loss either. The two of them got into a fight. As a result, the senior falsely accused her of stealing. The school called her parents. Her grandmother slapped her as soon as she entered, completely disregarding that she was still injured. She was beaten until her ears rang. Yet she could clearly hear her grandmother's voice. I told you not to take others' things. Your hands are itching for a beating. At this moment, tears of grievance suddenly welled up in her eyes. Her heart ached. The principles her mother had taught her over the years about how to conduct herself were utterly crushed and destroyed by Yang Jin tonight. Mom, can't hold on anymore. Mom, why didn't you take me with you when you left? Yang Jin is the young master of the Yang group. She couldn't afford to entangle with him. Even if she was responsible, she couldn't seek revenge or settle scores with him. She wasn't worthy and couldn't afford to provoke him. The next day, Meng Ci was unreachable. Yang Jin couldn't contact Meng Ci. So he went to the art university to look for her roommates. The 3 girls were originally happily chatting and laughing. But when they saw him, they all stopped and looked wary. Classmate, I'd like to ask, what has Meng Ci been up to lately? Yi Miaru couldn't help but snicker. Oh, we really shouldn't say anything carelessly. Li Ruoxi's boyfriend coming to show concern for our Meng Ci. If this gets out, Meng Ci's reputation will be ruined. How could our Meng Ci ever show her face again? The other 2 also took a step back. Yang Jin had picked up Li Ruoxi a few times before. Plus, Li Ruoxi made no attempt to hide it, and referred to herself and Yang Jin as boyfriend and girlfriend. So now, the whole academy knows about the 2 of them. Upon hearing this, Yang Jin frowned and explained, I have no relationship with Li Ruoxi whatsoever. My only girlfriend is Meng Ci. Personally driving her to and from places. And you still have the nerve to say there's nothing going on? Then someone like Meng Ci, who has no official status, is even less worth mentioning. That's right. A country girl from a backwater place. Just giving her any attention is an act of charity. Putting her in the spotlight would be so degrading. Yi Miru said mockingly. She was talking about Meng Ci. But Yang Jin felt she was referring to him. Li Ya mustered her courage and also complained. Meng Ci is such a pitiful girlfriend. Her boyfriend treats others so well, but treats her so poorly. The premium milk candies Yang Jin gave to Li Ruoxi were distributed to everyone in the department. If you didn't know better, you'd think they were wedding candies. The three of them didn't want to argue further, so they bypassed him and headed toward the cafeteria. As they passed Yang Jin, they didn't forget to shoot him a glare. What does it matter if he's good-looking and from a wealthy family? A dog is still a dog. In the cafeteria, Li Ya grew more upset the more she thought about it. The braised pork ribs in her mouth had no flavor. Let's bring some back for Meng Ci. Yi Miru said with a look of disdain. That pauper has too much pride. Do you really think she'd eat it if you brought it to her? Besides, do you even know if she's coming back today? Just hurry up and eat. Hearing this, Li Ya and Zhou Yile both sighed in unison. Meng Ci hasn't been back for 3 days. 4 o'clock a.m. In a downtown bar, Meng Ci carried the last crate of liquor into the bar counter, arranged it neatly, rubbed her shoulders, and then got ready to clock out. The city was still brightly lit at a.m. Meng Ci jogged all the way, arriving near the art studio by 5:30. She had taken a month off from school, working full-time as a substitute teacher at Zhao Yansheng's art studio. At 8 p.m., she went to help in the kitchen of a bar in the city center. Calculating it all, she could earn nearly 20,000 in a month. She was determined to repay Yang Jin for the bracelet, because she refused to bear the stain, and the 100,000 for the painting that Yang's mother bought. If necessary, she would repay that too. At 5:30 a.m., the dormitory building hadn't opened yet. Meng Ci went to the ATM near the art studio, resting in the small room. Zhao Yansheng's studio gave her 1 day off per week. If she could just get through today, tomorrow she could sleep soundly in her dorm bed. Friday nights at the bar were especially crowded, carrying whole crates of drinks carefully, running back and forth between the kitchen storage and the bar counter. Yang Jin was on the second floor, leaning over the glass railing, watching the crowd moving below. Zhaoping Gukshuan noticed Yang Jin staring intently downstairs, quietly teased him. Brother Jian, see any guys you like? Want me to call them up for a chat? He thought Yang Jin had ended things with the previous one.
So he had invited Li Ruoxi and her dorm friends too. Little did he know Yang Jin completely ignored them. A person is lost in their own thoughts, staring off into space. They are completely unaware. Yang Jin remains silent. He offers no reply. Right now, he's thinking about where Meng Ci could possibly be. To find the girl, he investigated all her recent activities, but her transaction records show no spending, no expenses at all. No hotel stays. He simply can't track down her location. However, he did find out that Meng Ci previously helped her younger brother repay 200,000. He's afraid to think about where that 200,000 came from. Did she meet someone else who treats her well? Someone who helped her pay off these debts? She's the type who always repays kindness. Would that mean she would only be good to that person from now on? The drinking party on the second floor was getting lively. Yang Jin never once glanced at Li Ruoxi the entire time. This made the friends who came with her feel somewhat awkward. Gathering up her courage, Li Ruoxi took the initiative to go over and talk to Yang Jin. Brother Xiao Yang, why are you unhappy? If something's wrong, just say it. I can help you think of a solution. Yang Jin shook his head. He didn't answer her. His eyes were fixed on a figure over by the bar. That person looks so much like Meng Ci. The people around them started teasing and joking. Yang Jin, if you give your girlfriend the cold shoulder like this, you'll be made to sleep in the guest room when you get home. Hearing this, Li Ruoxi blushed. Her face lowered. Yang Jin couldn't find Meng Ci and was already upset. Now, on top of that, people were misunderstanding his relationship with Li Ruoxi. Even angrier. This time I'm saving face for you. Next time someone talks about our relationship again, I will clarify it myself. Li Ruoxi was so wrong she nearly cried. The dorm sisters who came with her exchanged bewildered glances. Didn't they say he was her boyfriend? Why is he saying such things now? In the bar, Meng Ci returned to her warehouse after moving the items. She just sat down on the small chair planning to read for a while. But the characters before her suddenly became unrecognizable. The next moment everything went black. She leaned back on the chair and fell unconscious. She was woken up again. 13 minutes later, Meng Ci, a customer wants alcohol. Come quickly to move the drinks. The girl rubbed her dizzy temples. Her head throbbed with dull pain. Then he got up and carried a case of beer to the bar. After work, she went to the back alley to take out the trash. Not far away, she heard someone crying and shouting. The gist was that the man wanted to break up. The woman was crying and begging him to stay. This kind of thing is common on Bar Street. Meng Ci wouldn't even give it a second glance when passing by. But today felt different. After the man finished speaking and left, the woman was left alone, crying and laughing. As if she were drunk. She bumped into Meng Ci, then fell to the ground on her own. Meng Ci looked down and saw that her black t-shirt was covered in red blood. The bar called an ambulance and sent Meng Ci to take the girl to the hospital. Now she lies on the hospital bed, her eyes vacant, staring at the bright white light above. Meng Ci sits on the sofa nearby, thinking how nice the lives of the rich are. The VIP room has a private bathroom and the guest bed is spacious. Can I contact your family? I have work tomorrow morning, so I have to leave early. In response to Meng Ci's words, the girl gave no reply at all. Meng Ci sighed and said, I'll turn off the light. Staring at the light isn't good for your eyes. After turning off the light, Meng Ci lay down on the guest bed. Suddenly, the girl's faint voice came from the hospital room. Aren't you going to say something? Say what? Meng Ci asked, drowsily in reply. Only then did she realize what was happening. I'm not good with words, I don't know how to comfort people. But my situation is even more heartbreaking than yours. That girl couldn't believe it. She could understand a young person being poor. But working at that bar, his monthly income shouldn't have been worse than hers. Meng Ci didn't want to say it at first. But years of pent-up feelings made her desperate to find an outlet. During my freshman year of college, my father and stepmother passed away unexpectedly. The only house was left to me. The younger brother my stepmother brought along studied on scholarships. He started working and earning money very early. Later, I got a boyfriend. He was in a car accident and I happened to pass by and saved his life. A couple of years ago, he was hospitalized and borrowed some money. We worked together to pay off the debt. Earlier this year, he said the debt was finally paid off. I thought life would gradually get better. What happened next? The girl was curious to know the rest. Life didn't get better. One day, I saw him spend 100,000 on a girl at the mall. And that same day, I had just been haggling over a chicken at the wet market. It was my birthday that day. He brought back the free gift from that girl's maxed out shopping spree and gave it to me as a birthday present. When my family was in trouble, needing money, I was detained at the police station. I asked him to lend me money. He told me to go beg for it. The girl in the hospital bed was completely drawn in.
Then why haven't you broken up with him? Are you keeping him for the new year? Meng Ci just shook her head. Because he is the only stranger who accompanied me. When we first met, he planted wild seeds in her heart. They grew uncontrollably and disturbed her emotions. So she hasn't broken up with him yet. Not because she can't let go of what she's invested, but because she's looking for a way to end it completely. Young lady, you're only in your second year of high school. You'll be discharged from the hospital and go home tomorrow. Apologize to your parents. Everything can still start over. The girl was silent for a long time. My parents won't forgive me. In order to be with him, I did many things that hurt them. How could biological parents hold a grudge? I used to think my father hurt me the most. But just a few days ago, I found out. My father borrowed money from others for a business venture and paid my stepmother a large sum. He didn't want me to be in debt. That's why he transferred the house to my brother. That middle-aged man hated his own inadequacy. He could only teach Meng Chuan from a young age. The men of the Meng family must protect the women of the Meng family. So Meng Chuan would rather die than sell that house. As Meng Ci was lost in thought, the girl suddenly spoke. Miss, are you asleep? The girl couldn't sleep. She wanted Meng Ci to talk. Only then did Meng Ci snap out of her thoughts. Actually, it's not all bad. Good things happen too. Tonight I saved someone while on the clock. Because you got a bed to sleep in. No need to squeeze into a room with an ATM machine. So I want to thank you. The ATM machine always reminds me to do business. Actually, it's really noisy. The two of them chatted intermittently like this all night. At a.m. That girl called her friend. By the time her friend arrived, Meng Ci had just finished washing up. Ready to leave. As Yang Zhu entered the door, she immediately saw a familiar person. Miss, was it you who saved Zhao? Zhao? Meng Ci nodded in acknowledgement, took out her phone and added Sun Zhaoxiao as a WeChat friend. If someone wants to commit suicide, you can't stop them no matter how many times you try. But if you feel life is meaningless, you can come and take a look at my world. After saying this, without greeting Yang Zhu, she stood up and left. But just as she opened the door, she ran right into Yang Jin. Meng Ci, what are you doing here? Meng Ci didn't respond, just gave a distant smile. I have things to do. I'm leaving first. Yang Jin didn't enter the hospital room. He turned and followed Meng Ci out. In the hallway, Yang Jin grabbed her wrist. Meng Ci, what have you been up to lately? I call you, but you don't answer. Meng Ci wasn't particularly awkward about it. I've been working lately. Not suitable to have my phone on me. Yang Jin had his own answer in mind. You could check messages after work, right? Probably just didn't want to reply to him. Remembering a period before when he had deliberately ignored her, Yang Jin felt he was in the wrong. Just about to speak. Only then did he notice the familiar black t-shirt on Meng Ci. Do you work at a bar? Yang Jin asked with a frown. Could the figure he saw on the second floor yesterday really have been her? Meng Ci didn't deny it. She waited to hear what he would say next. Would he scold her for going to that kind of place to make quick money? Or lecture her that a decent girl shouldn't go there, that people would look down on her? But who would have thought Yang Jin didn't say a word? Meng Ci paid him no mind either. When the elevator arrived, she walked in by herself. Are you working because of that 100,000 from last time? Last time was my fault. Don't worry about it. Who did you borrow from? I'll help you pay it back. Meng Ci didn't explain further. She only said she hadn't borrowed any money. Yang Jin believed her and immediately felt relieved. Then stop working. I'll give you my supplementary card. Just focus on your painting from now on. Don't work anymore, okay? Meng Ci directly refused. I don't plan on doing it for long anyway. If I quit now, I'll lose the wages for the work I've already done. She really did plan to leave after this summer. She needs to focus on painting during her senior year. After this, she'll only work as a substitute teacher in Zhao Yansheng's studio. After spending this time interacting with students, she thought being an art teacher wasn't so bad either. So she decided to give up on graduate school entrance exams. She'll take the exams to return to her hometown and become a teacher. A big city like Haishi isn't suitable for an unambitious person like her. Yang Jin's heart ached for her. The girl had dark circles under her eyes. She had become so thin these days it was jarring, making the black t-shirt on her body look loose and empty. We don't want that bit of salary anymore. I'll support you in whatever you want to do from now on. Let's open a studio. Just don't do this kind of work anymore. He spread his arms, wanting to pull Meng Ci into his embrace. Meng Ci took a step back, causing him to miss. There's blood on me. It wouldn't be good to dirty your clothes. Right then, the elevator reached the first floor. Meng Ci turned and walked towards the entrance. Meng Ci, wait for me, drive you back. He quickly grabbed her, wanting to take her back into the elevator to the underground parking garage. But Meng Ci suddenly stopped moving. A strange smile hung on her face, seeming to mock herself, yet also seeming to mock him. Using young Master Yang's such expensive car. If I dirty it, I can't afford to pay for it. Yang Jin instantly turned ice cold and froze on the spot. She knows everything. Seeing the man's dumbstruck expression, Meng Ci paid no attention, turned around and left directly. Yang Jin also didn't mention driving anymore. Silently, he followed behind her all the way. Just like that, they reached the university's west gate. Meng Ci told him to stay and not enter with her. It was already known by everyone in the school that Yang Jin and Li Ruoxi were in a relationship. If Meng Ci and Yang Jin, dressed in head-to-toe brand names, walked in together now, the storm she couldn't hold back would surge forth violently. It's laughable when you think about it. I'm the one who's been his girlfriend for 3 years, but now have to avoid suspicion. To prevent being seen as the other woman, Yang Jin didn't dare argue with Meng Ci. He could only wait obediently at the west gate. Ci went back to the dorm alone. Her roommates were still asleep at that time. After changing her clothes, she took a detour and left through the east gate, heading to her part-time job at the art studio. At p.m., Meng Ci went to work at the bar on time. She expected Yang Jin to follow her, but didn't think he'd arrive even earlier than her. Yang Jin had booked the entire bar tonight, so there were no other customers. Ci was happy to have it easy. She stayed in the back kitchen reviewing a world art history book. But she overlooked one thing. Since Yang Jin booked the place today, it meant the owner would fulfill any request he made. So 3 minutes later, the owner personally found Meng Ci. The customer out front is asking for you. You could only get up helplessly. When you're working for someone else, you have to follow orders. The lights in the main hall were fully on. There was no music. Everything was completely silent. Yang Jin sat alone in the very center. A glass of water was placed on the table. Meng Ci looked calmly at the man. "Young Master Yang, you called for me? What can I do for you?" Yang Jin seemed a bit hesitant. "I wanted to talk to you." Meng Ci smiled. She didn't refuse. "You're the customer. Of course, we can chat if you want." Yang Jin, upon hearing this, stood up and took her to the second floor. "Then let's go upstairs to talk. Let's not disturb the boss's business." This was Meng Ci's first time on the second floor. The layout on the second floor was even more luxurious than the first floor. The soundproofing was also very good. Once the door was closed, there was no sound at all. The girl kept sitting, not speaking or moving. Yang Jin felt even more upset about Meng Ci. "Hiding my identity from you was my mistake. I apologize to you. You can hit me or scold me, I can accept it all. But please don't stay silent, okay?" Meng Ci shook her head. Her face was calm. "I don't blame you. These were originally your things. It's also your freedom to choose what identity to use when making friends." She originally had rather weak concepts about family ties. Even marriage has the option of divorce, let alone a boyfriend relationship with no formal contract. But Yang Jin felt even worse hearing this. Wasn't this just her trying to cut ties with him? "Meng Ci, please don't be like this. Today, whatever you say, I'll accept it. Just don't cut me off like this." Hearing this, Meng Ci looked at him calmly. Her calm stare made Yang Jin extremely fearful. "Then I ask you, why did you hide your identity to get close to me? During that time when I called and you didn't answer, where were you? What were you doing? Who were you with?" Yang Jin was immediately speechless. He knew that once he answered, the two of them would absolutely be finished. Thinking of him shifting his focus, he walked up to her and crouched down to meet her at eye level. "Everything in the past was my fault. Please believe me. I struggled too. I will make it up to you slowly from now on. Let's just let the past be the past, okay?" Seeing Meng Ci remain silent, Yang Jin added, "Just think of it as getting to know me all over again. I won't lie to you anymore. I'll listen to you in everything. I won't let you suffer even a little bit." Not getting the result she wanted, Meng Ci couldn't clear away the wildly growing weeds in her heart. A heart full of disappointment struck her already exhausted body, making her instantly lose strength and collapse. Yang Jin quickly caught her with swift reflexes, moved behind her to act as her support. Meng Ci will treat you very well. We will never be apart from now on. Yang Jin whispered his promise. His arms tightened, holding her closely. He pressed a kiss on top of her head. Let's resign and go back home. Okay. Hearing this, Meng Ci regained clarity in her eyes, pushed Yang Jin away, stood up, and straightened her clothes. I can't resign from my job. I'm going downstairs first. Yang Jin stood up, still wanting to call out to her. The girl turned around and only said one thing. You just said you'd listen to me in everything. She had to keep working. Since this man couldn't be relied on, she had to use his resources to find her own way out. Hearing this, Yang Jin awkwardly shut his mouth and followed Meng Ci downstairs. There are already guests downstairs. The music is deafening. Yang Jin follows Meng Ci to the back kitchen. He rolls up his sleeves and helps Meng Ci serve drinks. They haven't been close lately. He recalls that Meng Ci has been living like this for the past 3 years. The guilt in his heart deepens. After finishing everything and getting off work in the evening, he isn't driving the black Maybach from last time. She doesn't recognize this car either. But it's definitely not the 10000 yuan car Yang Jin mentioned. The dark blue Porsche drives all the way into Yuking, Shuyuan. It's too late today. I'll take you out tomorrow to familiarize yourself with the surroundings here. After you graduate, we will live here. Meng Ci stares at the scenery outside the window without responding. They get out of the car in the underground parking garage. She sees the black Maybach parked nearby. Only then is she sure that he usually lives here. The elevator from the parking garage goes up. The large flat has 3 elevators per household. Yang Jin opens the door. He leads Meng Ci toward the master bedroom. They enter the walk-in closet. The motion sensor light turns on. The display cabinets are filled with clothes and jewelry. All of these are for you. Because of me. You suffered a lot in the past. Now I'm making it all up to you. But Meng Ci seems somewhat uninterested. She doesn't want to admire such expensive things. I'm tired. I have to wake up early tomorrow. Yang Jin knows she still has a part-time job. Tomorrow, go to the closet and get her pajamas. Arrange for her to stay in the master bedroom. He himself retreated to the guest room. There's been a new development just now. Can't be too hasty. Meng Ci sized up this new room. The bathroom was larger than her old house back in her hometown. The bathtub faced directly towards the stunning river view outside the window. Across the river were colorful neon lights and landmark buildings. While bathing, she didn't know how to use the showerhead in the bathroom. No matter how she turned it on, there was no hot water. She could only search online for how to use it, and unexpectedly learned its value. This entire bathroom suite could buy half a house in her hometown, including all the fixtures in the entire bathroom. Even if she sold her old house back home, she couldn't afford this bathroom. The girl started searching the room to figure out the value of everything inside. The bedsheet and duvet cover were so luxurious she couldn't sleep. She could only roll off the soft bed and lay on the floor, looking at the luxurious decor filling the room. Bundles of cash visible everywhere. Meng Ci's sorrow was immense. It was under this person's deception that she had worked like a dog for 3 years. Is this compensation? Yang Jin is absolutely unforgivable. The next day at 6:30, when Yang Jin called for Meng Ci outside her door, and she came out, breakfast was already set up outside. Yang Jin came out from the kitchen, saw Meng Ci frowning. Why are you still wearing yesterday's clothes? Don't you like the ones in the closet? Meng Ci shook her head. I'm going to the studio later. This one is stain resistant. The so-called t-shirts in Yang Jin's cloakroom. The cheapest ones cost over 1,000, not suitable for her. In this room, Anything she used might need to be repaid in cash at any moment. She didn't want to add to her own debt. After breakfast, Yang Jin drove her to the art studio. Then he went to work at the company. Zhao Yansheng, who usually kept some distance from her, surprisingly came over to talk to her for the first time. Boyfriend? He tilted his chin slightly, pointing toward the spot outside where Yang Jin had just parked. The girl returned the student's paintbrush to the student. For now, yes. About Meng Ci's situation, Zhao Yansheng knew a little. He originally thought they had already broken up. But now, it seemed, they still needed more time. He subtly changed the subject. Do you want to try the teacher qualification exam in the second half of the year? The girl nodded. I'm already preparing study materials for the second half of the year exam. In the coming years at the maritime school. I'll probably still need your help, senior. She won't be returning to her hometown for now. The income here is relatively higher. She wants to save some money while she's still young. Then take the exam to return home and become an art teacher. Upon hearing this, Zhao Yansheng didn't ask further. He nodded in acknowledgement, then turned to attend to other students. At noon, Yang Jin called Meng Ci, wanting to take her out for a meal. Meng Ci didn't answer. She guessed Yang Jin would come looking for her. So she asked Zhao Yansheng for leave to return to school. She bought 2 steamed buns at the cafeteria and went back to her dorm to eat. She had only taken a few bites. When her 3 roommates returned, Li Ya was carrying a disposable food container. She placed it on Meng Ci's desk. Just as Meng Ci was about to refuse, Yi Miru cut her off. These are just leftovers from today. We're giving them to you out of pity. Zhou Yi quietly whispered, don't listen to her nonsense. We ordered too much and barely ate any. It's all in clean containers. Inside was boiled beef. There was much less meat inside. But the vegetables were plentiful. Meng Ci didn't refuse. She picked up her chopsticks and started eating the food. Li Ya and Zhou Yile both looked at Yi Miru with admiring eyes. Originally, they planned to bring a new portion for Meng Ci. But Yi Miru laughed at the two of them for being foolish. With that little pauper Meng Ci's pride. If she ate a full portion, she'd definitely insist on paying them back. Might as well just give her half a portion. So Meng Ci would have no way to pay it back. Yi Miru snorted arrogantly. Such strange pride for a pauper. Would rather eat someone else's leftovers. Poached beef. Savory, spicy, perfect with rice. A pile of beef was hidden at the very bottom. Her hand, holding the steamed bun, paused. She pretended not to know. She lowered her head and continued eating. Suddenly, half a pack of milk was thrown in front of her, landing on the table with a thud. With a clatter, Yi Miru. A scornful voice came from behind her. Don't get the wrong idea. This batch from the cellar has all the flavors mixed together and sold as a whole pack. We've already picked out all the ones we wanted from this pack. The few flavors left are ones none of us 3 can stomach. Take it. Don't let it go to waste. Meng Ci, with her back to them, didn't say thank you. But the beef at noon today was really delicious. In the bar that evening, Yang Jin had mostly finished moving the alcohol, sitting down next to Meng Ci, sweating profusely. Seeing Meng Ci continue reading her book without any change in expression, Yang Jin felt wronged inside. Back when he used to help her with work, she would always follow him around, asking if he was warm or cold, showing concern. Now, it was as if he didn't even exist in her eyes. I finished moving everything this time, Yang Jin said quietly. He leaned his head, still radiating heat, close to Meng Ci's face, full of grievance. You didn't even look at me once. Facing Yang Jin's dejected gaze, Meng Ci took a wet wipe from the thermal container Yang Jin brought, dried the sweat on his face, then poured some soup for him to drink. These past few days, dinner was prepared by the auntie from Yang Jin's home. Side, everything from main courses to fruit was complete. All were things Meng Ci loved to eat. Food she would have craved at a glance before. Now, Meng Ci didn't even want to look at it. At this moment, the big dog named Yang Jin sat waiting to enjoy Meng Ci's service. But Meng Ci's heart was utterly calm. This was the young master of the Yang family, not her longtime boyfriend anymore. Suddenly, the man spoke. Meng Ci, my friends are outside. Shall we go together to meet them? He feared Meng Ci would use work as an excuse, and quickly added, I've already moved the drinks. If you don't believe me, go check up front. Meng Ci put her books into the canvas bag, smiled and said, I'm not presentable like this. She was still wearing her work black t-shirt, her hair just tied in a ponytail, not to mention no makeup. Her hands were full of dust. Yang Jin didn't expect this to be the reason. Quickly took her upstairs. Above the bar was a hotel. Yang Jin swiped the card to open the suite door. Meng Ci was unfazed. Went in to shower. After she finished, Yang Jin went to shower. Several clothes hung in the room, matching the styles girls like these days. The dressing table was lined with bottles and jars. They must have all been sent by Yang Jin. After Yang Jin finished showering and came out of the bathroom, he saw the girl, who had never looked so refined before. It shattered the last of Yang Jin's defenses. Looking again at the rough calluses and dry skin covering Meng Ci's hands, he felt like a complete jerk. He had let such a girl remain hidden away for so long. He lowered his head and pressed a long kiss on her exposed shoulder. He could make up for everything. There was still time. Held too tightly by Yang Jin, Meng Ci couldn't move properly. Yang Jin, if you don't change your clothes soon, then I'll change back into my old clothes. They went downstairs. The invisible dynamic between the two shifted. Afraid that Meng Ci would get angry, Yang Jin quickly let go. He went back to his room to change into a new suit. Meng Ci paid no mind to Yang Jin's sentimentality. She walked to the doorway to change her shoes. At the door sat a pair of dark blue high heels. They matched the dress Meng Ci had chosen very well. They also matched Yang Jin's suit. The two of them went up to the second floor together, including Meng Ci. There were 3 ladies inside. The rest were all men. A playful voice suddenly teased, our brother Jing finally decided to bring the little lady out to meet everyone. Yang Jin held her hand and led her inside to sit down and make introductions. The one who had spoken was Zhao Penggukshuan. I'm half a year older than him, so he calls me brother. He is quite mischievous. Don't take what he says seriously. That is Li Yan. He is the art director of our company. The person next to him is his fiancée Wu Yue. She also works at our company. Wu Yue smiled at Meng Ci. She appeared warm and generous, but her eyes couldn't hide her shrewd calculations. Li Yan's fiancée, Meng Ci remembered, during the Yang family parents' wedding anniversary. It was she who completely sold her out in front of Li Ruoxi. Thinking about it now, Li Ruoxi's attitude towards her afterwards became quite nuanced, very likely also thanks to her. And Li Ruoxi's roommate heard she's been acting quite high and mighty at school lately. Meng Ci shook her head. A young girl inexperienced in the ways of the world. Wu Yue was flattering her way too much. Yang Jin gave a brief introduction. Finally, it was Meng Ci's turn. This is my girlfriend, Meng Ci. Li Yan understood the situation clearly. Meng Ci's future wealth and fame were practically secure. And Wu Yue had even more calculations in mind. She immediately acted familiar, swapped seats with Li Yan, sat right next to Meng Ci on her other side. Within 5 minutes, she was acting like close sisters with Meng Ci. You're still a student, right? Which school are you from? Yi University, 3rd year, studying oil painting. To prevent this from continuing, Wu Yue asked more questions. Meng Ci said everything in one go. Unexpectedly, Wu Yue took her hand. Praise, no wonder your hand looks a bit rough. It's from all the practice with a brush, you top student. Just from this hand, I can tell you'll definitely be a painter. Meng Ci was amused by her. She was incredibly curious. How did Wu Yi appraise Li Ruoxi's hand back then? A natural-born artist, casually creating masterpieces with a wave of her hand. No need to rough up her hands at all. Not long after, Meng Ci got a bit tired of chatting with Wu Yue, got up and headed to the restroom. Just stepped out after drying her hands. Bumped into a girl in a white dress. She was the girlfriend of another one of Yang Jin's friends. Earlier, Wu Yue had been pestering her. This girl had been sitting quietly in the corner. The girl took out a hand cream from her clutch. She handed it to Meng Ci. This is very effective at softening dead skin. Use it for a while. Your hands won't develop calluses anymore. Then she passed over a business card. It was from a very famous beauty salon. And this, too. Their beauty techniques are quite good. Meng Ci nodded in thanks. After accepting it, the girl smiled. She walked back with Meng Ci. If you're not used to it, you can make an appointment to go beauty treatments with me. My number is written on the back of the card. Meng Ci didn't reply. She put the items into her own tote bag. The drinking gathering lasted until almost midnight. Meng Ci didn't drink a single drop. Yang Jin, however, was coaxed into drinking quite a lot. When leaving, he was somewhat disoriented. They had called a driver in advance to take them back. This time, it was that very expensive Maybach. The driver was a middle-aged man. Surnamed Liu, he appeared calm and steady. He drove quietly in the front. Yang Jin raised the partition. He draped himself all over Meng Ci, muttering Meng Ci's name over and over. He was somewhat using drunkenness as an excuse to act wild. Meng Ci knew but didn't expose him. She played with that hand cream in her hand, thinking that Wu Yue was still better. At least his sweet words could make one feel happy. Did they really think she was naive and easy to fool? Little did they know, this hand cream was specifically used to curry favor with her. I'm afraid he already knew about her existence. He only showed kindness after Yang Jin gave her a status. The hand cream was eventually thrown into the trash bin in the parking lot. Driver Liu helped carry Yang Jin upstairs. Meng Ci, wearing high heels, followed behind, carrying his jacket. They placed Yang Jin on the sofa. Driver Liu only left after confirming everything was fine, leaving Meng Ci alone to take care of Yang Jin. While the girl was brewing sobering soup, Yang Jin quickly showered, changed clothes, and sneaked into the master bedroom. When Meng Ci found him, the nearly 1.9-meter-tall Yang Jin was lying in the master bedroom, pretending to be drunk and acting shamelessly. He refused to settle down unless Meng Ci held him tightly. But Yang Jin felt empty. This wasn't enough. How about we go to France for a trip this time? I'll accompany you on an outing. Let's start over. He wanted to give her a beautiful journey. To have the complete Meng Ci in a romantic place. He was dying to touch her. But he still wanted to give her an unforgettable first time. Meng Ci didn't answer. In her mind, she weighed dignity against money. An hour later, beside her, Yang Jin was sleeping peacefully. Meng Ci closed her eyes too, forcing herself to ignore her dignity. He was a young master from a wealthy family. If she endured a little, she could rise in social class. She was tired of being poor and didn't want to suffer poverty anymore. As long as Yang Jin was by her side, money and fame would be within easy reach. She convinced herself, Meng Ci, you can do this. For the sake of money, give him and you another chance. It will definitely work out.